Hello, lovely humans. I'm fake mad currently, just because I'm sitting in this dark corner of my house again on a beautiful day because my neighbor has been leaf blowing the entire time since Petals and I have gotten back from our walk. So I'm only a little bit bitter because it is so gorgeous outside and I wanted to be out there. We are welcoming all of the positive energy for this recording right now. And we are testing out a new setup where I have got my DSLR and this lovely microphone plugged into said DSLR. So we will see how the sound quality is and then we can look back on this later if it's absolutely trash. But welcome back to Chronically Joyful. Thanks for sitting at my table with me. Today I wanted to talk about something that I think is incredibly important as someone that's living with a chronic illness, and that is invisible illnesses, where if you saw me on the street 10 minutes ago walking my beautiful dog, you wouldn't think anything of it. You'd be like, that's a normal, like 30-ish year old lady walking her gorgeous Bernese Mountain Dog. I hope they have a lovely day. But that is not the case. And it isn't the case for most folks living with a chronic illness, just because most of us look normal on the surface. And I think that we're the furthest thing from normal. I was talking to a friend at work today and he was just like, "You're so weird." And I like to label myself as eccentric personally. It makes life way more fun. I don't like being status quo, and I'm not intentionally not being status quo. I'm just owning the parts of myself that are real messed up. Hydration break. Reminder, drink your water. You've all heard me say this numerous times now. But yes, getting back to the subject hand here. Invisible illnesses are so interesting because the times where my MS has been visible, it really awakened me to what folks have to deal with more often than I do. I'm very fortunate in the sense where I don't look as bad as I feel most of the time. I've also uncovered about myself that I tend to hide how I'm really feeling in the moment up until like I literally can't. And that was last Wednesday when I was sobbing in my car before walking into work. I didn't love that, and I didn't love continuing to cry between meetings either, and then looking like somebody hit me with a truck and having people be like, "Oh, she not doing so good today," but like no one said anything, which I am both grateful for and also like, good, maybe it wasn't noticeable. These are the hopes. By the way, I have no idea if me coming closer to this is gonna affect this microphone. He's not the best quality microphone, so I'm really crossing my fingers that this is okay. But in 2024, when I was experiencing my biggest influx of symptoms to date, I had mobility aids, and shout out to my really good friend Lee, because she recommended hiking poles, the kind that you use when you're hiking and like going up steep hills. And I thought that was really interesting because I hate canes. I never really learned how to use it. It was always really awkward for me. I'm ambidextrous, so I was like, what hand am I supposed to use? Both my legs are all jacked up, so like the logic behind that didn't really necessarily make sense for me. But the hiking poles have been life-changing. Thank you, Puddles. Where I don't necessarily... And we're back. Puddles decided that she wanted to say something on this recording too, and it was very loud. But I prefer to use hiking poles because just I can adjust the height. It feels better for me personally. My mom also took this advice and she's a big fan of it. Give it a try. Let me know if you do in the comments below. Sorry, I still like saying that. It's fun for me. But I remember going into work and I had both of them because it was a really bad mobility day for me and I was using them. And this very well-meaning, lovely woman thought I was someone else and approached me and grabbed them and was just like, "Oh, are we going skiing?" And I was just sitting there like, because I had never met this person before in my life, and I was just like, what an odd thing to do with someone you don't know. I came to find out later that like when she learned the circumstances, she was absolutely horrified. So if you're watching this, it's totally fine. These things happen all the time. It just was eye-opening for me, where it was like, either people are gonna misunderstand. I remember I went into a meeting room with folks I work with all the time, and one woman just asked me very bluntly, she was just like, oh, did you get in an accident? Like, what happened? It's like, no, I have multiple sclerosis. And then it turned into like, oh yeah, my sister or like my cousin has that, which is always what happens. It's so strange, because now that I have MS and have for the last 11 and a half years, it's like everybody around me has it, or knows someone that has it, or has a relative that has it. And it's just like prominent, but it's also one of those weird things where it's just like, oh yeah, this person has it. Like, that's not a big deal. And it's a weird thing. I don't know how I feel about it. Clearly, I'm processing this in this moment right now too. But yeah, like that was a very different experience than what I'm used to, where it's just like I walk into a room and people are just like, oh, it's Kat. Like, what's up, girl? I'm like, oh, you know, everything's great. But on the inside, like, I'm covered in tiger balm and just like I'm throbbing in pain, and like no one can see it, which has been a blessing and a curse for me, because what it's done is teach me how to actually shield the reality of my current situation. So like, I've learned to brave it for many, many years, and always did. Even when I was a kid, it used to drive my mom nuts. Or like at my grandmother, who, rest her soul, I love her so much, at her wake, like my father turned to me and he just like held me and cried, and it was normal, but I was just like, I need to be strong for Papa. That moment, it's just like, I don't know, I feel like that was a defining moment for me, where I just felt like I needed to be strong for others, which is something I carried into adulthood and something I actually really value within myself. But last week or the week before, I'm going through a very tumultuous life circumstance right now, and have been for the last year, and it's just been a lot. It's been a lot. And one of the affected parties, to keep this as discreet as possible, turned to me and blatantly said, just like, I don't even think you care. You haven't expressed any emotion around this whatsoever. I stopped and I looked at him and I was just like, you think I don't care? You think I don't care? You think this isn't affecting me at all? Because what people don't see are those moments you're home alone in the dark trying to process things, and you can't even get the gusto to get up off the couch to go to the bathroom, and you're just crying and you're just a heap of sadness. And it's one of those things that like I'm still conflicted about, because this also only happened 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, oh no, of course I'm affected. I'm sorry if I was portraying something inauthentic around this, where like I'm doing that thing again, where I'm trying to be strong for me, for myself, and then also for people around me who've been really supportive and just like, we want to make sure you're okay. And I so appreciate that, because it's a tumultuous situation where half the world is like, you shouldn't be upset with your own decisions, and then half the world is like, no, we see you, we understand that this still sucks. But I realized I was doing that, and then unfortunately that was the Wednesday I was crying in my car at work, because I finally was like, I can't hold it in anymore, guys, I'm tired. Not that I did that, I was very discreet about it, because I am not the type to cry in my professional setting. It's just not what I do. But I'm trying to find the balance of always being authentically me, maintaining a level of professionalism, 'cause I like my job, but also just still making sure that it's not to a degree where it's not really me. So like, even with this, I'm experimenting with this setup. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with it. I love my DSLR. I've got a D5100 Nikon doing this. The quality is stellar. This microphone is very cheap. So I have a feeling I'm gonna need a little bit of help on that. But I completely just lost my train of thought, y'all. It's back. I want to remain me. I hope this channel grows. I was not consistent last week because I didn't find it to be good practice to be basically grieving and then forcing myself to like make content. That's not what this is about. And I'm not going to get on camera and cry in front of you guys either. Like, if you're my friend, I'll do that with you on FaceTime, but that is not for the rest of the internet to see. But I strive to maintain some level of me. I'm a goober of a human where, like, even if I'm sitting here one day and I've got this like fancy background and like studio equipment that's just like, hey, welcome back to Chronically Joyful, insert logo screen here before I get into it. Like, that's the goal one day. But we are fresh starting off the ground with this, and the whole purpose behind this channel is just to get the message out and to just talk about things that a lot of people feel weird talking about. I've been doing this on Instagram through my MS community for so long now, but it was just, it hit a point where I was like, I have more to say than what this platform gives me the opportunity to do, and now here we are, and I hope it is reaching folks that it could benefit, just because it's important. Again, I've talked about this before, but to build community and to see things like this and know that you're not crazy. You're not crazy, and you're not alone. No matter what symptoms you're having, or if you're really visibly ill right now, like if you are someone who utilizes a wheelchair or like consistent mobility aids or anything of the like, you're safe. It's okay. I know, and I say this and I hesitate when I'm saying this just because I get it. I get feeling less than because of a hand that was dealt to you that you can't help. And I had a moment over the weekend actually where I felt triggered for the first time in a really long time because someone made a joke, not about me, but about somebody I know who does have MS also, and referred to them as broken. And betwixt us, even though I just posted about this, I was imbibing in some alcoholic beverages with my really good friend at the time that this happened. So I wasn't 100% sober, but at the same time, my immediate reaction to that was to burst into tears. Which, if you know me personally, that is so not a normal reaction for me. It gut punched me because it came from someone really close to me. And while they've apologized, I forgave, like it's fine. It's just, that was another moment that, like, you know those moments where it's just like, that was the moment that did this for me. Like, this was one of those that, like, even thinking about it right now and talking about this, like, you can hear my voice is hoarse, A, because I went dancing and we were yelling and it was a great time, but also because I sobbed so hard for like 3 hours after that. Because it cut, it hurt real bad. It still hurts right now. Despite the forgiveness and moving forward, it's still a cauterized recent wound. And it was the next day that I was like, I'm not broken, and neither are you. You're not broken because you were born with an illness, you ended up with an illness. You're not broken or less than because of it. And it was in that reflection the next day of being like, I have this, and yeah, sometimes I feel like a pile of dog crap. But that doesn't make me less than as a human, and it should never make you feel less than either, because we are all collectively on this planet Earth right now for a reason. You being here is important, And you might be rolling your eyes at me being like, I just work a corporate job and go home, hang out with like my cat and crochet. You're still important. The energy that you bring to your days, the love that you give other people, the crochet work you're doing, it's just, it all matters, especially in times like this where the world is crazy. The world is crazy. I don't know if you can hear Puddles growling, but she agrees. And I've had to continuously remind myself of this, where like I'm a productivity hoe, for lack of a better term. For the longest time, I'm like, if I'm not doing something, I'm not proving my worth. I'm not proving my value to the world. And over the last year or so, I've realized like I don't need to prove myself to anyone. Not even myself. I'm worthy just because I exist. And you are worthy just because you exist. And personally, I think that we are way more fun than other people who are normies. It's so mean. But I think that we're more fun just for the fact of many of us were given a really awful hand at a really young age. And that doesn't go for everyone, but even in your older years, like that's jarring, it's life-changing, and it's big. And it's just like, oh God, what do I do with this now? And 11 and a half years later, I'm doing this now. Because I would have loved something like this when I first got diagnosed, even though YouTube wasn't like a thing. It was, but it was like for YouTube poops and dumps of SpongeBob quotes, which my best friends, the Gross Crew, we're still obsessed with SpongeBob. It's fine. That show's hilarious. But I would have loved something like this. And that is another one of those moments that was like, wow, this was the moment where the lovely human that I was dating at the time, one of the best people on the planet, gave me this, oh God, it was like not a Galaxy. It was a big white Android device that was like, it doesn't make calls, it doesn't text, but it connects to the internet. I was like, okay. And he had showed me, he's like, this is what Instagram is. And I was like, oh, this is so fun. And I like started posting flower pictures and pictures of my pink hair at the time. Just like, wow, so nice. And then very soon after that, actually, I got my diagnosis. And I was on the MS Society forums and I found them on Instagram. And then I don't even remember what got me posting for the first time. I think I was searching for symptoms and things because I was scared. And then I started sharing, and then people started responding just like, wow, yeah, we've been there before. It's okay. You're gonna be okay. And it was that moment that I was like, this feels important. And in the last 11 and a half years, like I feel really fortunate because I think I found my purpose. Even if this doesn't go anywhere beyond 15 subscribers, I'm here for you, 15 subscribers. Really. Where it's an important thing to talk about, and not just MS either. That's not even like, that is the crucial part of this entire channel, but like fostering community and connection and just embracing who you are. It is so important. Just be you. And I'm seeing it in real time. It's such a beautiful thing to witness and actually like tune into and hone in on. Be like, wow, I'm so happy that I'm noticing these things, where it's just like I'm seeing people I've known for decades just coming out of their shells like little pistachios and just being authentically themselves and goofy and fun loving and just giving all this love. And I'm gonna call it high vibe. I think my sister would punch me if she ever started watching these. But it's just such a interesting time to be alive right now. And I think the reason that I waited so long to do this, I didn't have this idea until like last year either. But I think that it came to me now because I think that it was most needed now. So all of this to say, I'm gonna have to like learn how to edit this because I'm not on my Mac, and that was really easy on my Mac. But all of this to say that whether your illness is visible, invisible, you're completely healthy, you are insanely ill but recovering, I will never leave it at you're insanely ill, because I think that people are always healing. The body is amazing and it is always self-healing. We just need to take the right inspired actions to help it heal faster. So I will see you guys on the TED stage whenever I'm able to heal this. Saying that, also, I've got my first MRI in over a year at the end of this month. So I'm actually really excited to do that because I think it's going to yield really positive results, and I'm excited to share with you. Despite this hospital system making me use an IV for the contrast, that doesn't make me happy. It's also at 8 o'clock in the morning, so that's not going to go well. I'm going to be real dehydrated despite doing my best, so think of me. But all of this to say that no matter your circumstance, you're still important. And whatever you're doing on this planet, it matters. Even on the days that you're in sweatpants eating popcorn, like binge watching The Office, that's important too. You gotta recharge. You gotta recharge so that you can bring your best self into whatever it is you pour your heart into. So with that, my little pistachios, I'm gonna leave you on that note. My neighbor stopped leaf blowing like halfway through this, and he can totally hear me doing this. So I'm gonna sign off here. Have the loveliest of lovely days. The light in me recognizes the light in you. I love you all so much.